Hey, welcome to yet another episode of the Rock Fantasy Files. Kind of on our summer vacation here. And tonight I'm chatting with Chris McCallister and John Riggs of the band Second Helping. I have two reasons to chat with them tonight. One is to talk to them about their upcoming performance at the Orange County Fair this weekend, this Saturday night, actually, here in Middletown, New York. The other is to learn some history of this band, as I am a huge Skynyrd and Southern rock fan, and I recently just found out about their existence, and we talked briefly on the phone over the weekend. And I think to start off with, you say you would prefer not to be called a tribute, but rather referred as the Lynyrd Skynyrd Show. So as we're talking with our viewers here to find out who you are, I guess we want to start off with that immediately. They are doing a performance here on Saturday night, and they perform the music of Lynyrd Skynyrd. And so let's introduce yourselves to our viewers and what each one of you does in the band, along with that question. Good evening.
I'm John Riggs, and I am the lead singer and sometimes guitar player.
Okay.
I'm Chris McCallister. I play lead guitar and slide in the band.
And why do you prefer not to be called a tribute, but rather be referred to as the Lynyrd Skynyrd Show? That'll be my next question.
Well, we don't have a problem with it, but John does.
Okay.
This is not me.
No,
This was like a question I was told to ask. So
No, it's fine. Back in the beginning, in '88, there weren't a whole lot of people that were doing tribute acts. There was only a handful, Beatlemania, I think the Doors, Pink Floyd tributes.
okay.
But for the most part, there weren't a whole lot of tribute bands. And, it didn't start out as being a problem, but over time, that name tribute band began to have a negative connotation.
I see.
As if to say, well, those guys are just pretending, or they're not the real thing. So we kind of but we steered away from the tribute genre and say we do a Lynyrd Skynyrd show. It's a Lynyrd Skynyrd show.
Mm-hmm.
We do it note for note. We do it word for word. We have the same amount of backup singers. We have the same amount of guitar players. We are not putting on a second-rate act to pretend to be somebody. I mean, we don't have any grand illusions that we are Skynyrd, of course, but we're going to give you the Skynyrd show.
And it's kind of personal to us.
Yeah.
I mean, those guys were our buddies, man. And it's real personal to us because they would haunt us if we didn't put on a good, professional show. So it's just so much more than a tribute. Like we're thinking people go to the bar down the street and catch yourself a tribute band. Man, that ain't no way. That's not how Second Helping is.
It's not really what we do.
No.
Okay.
We try to present it as factually and actually as close to the real thing as you can get without paying that for that ticket to go see Lynyrd Skynyrd, And like he said, the guys from Skynyrd, a lot of the guys were real close friends with the original band members, and still to this day, we keep in touch with some of them.
Okay.
Ed King used to call us at our rehearsals and tell us to play it right because he wasn't going to accept it if we didn't play it right.
That's
what I mean?
Yeah. Because that was my next question was, what is your relationship with Lynyrd Skynyrd, which I was kind of asked, on that question to run by you.
Back in '88, in fact, Chris was at a rehearsal when Skynyrd was going to get back together to go on tour as a tribute tour to Ronnie and all of those that were lost in the plane crash.
Yeah.
And they were only going to do 18 shows.
Okay.
And Chris said, being there and hearing them and how amazing they sounded, Ed came back and played with them again for those shows.
Yeah.
So, he said, you guys sound amazing. And then he found out they were only going to do 18 shows. So then, he said, well, we should start a tribute to you guys. And
He laughed at me.
they thought it was funny. He's like, I don't remember who said it, but
Gary
Rosen said, you mean
Okay.
like Beatlemania? And he said, yeah, like Beatlemania. And but a real big, production, real big show.
Yeah.
And so he has that relationship with those guys, and that has grown into us having those relationships. Ed King taught us guitar parts. Billy Powell taught the piano players some of his parts. Whenever we couldn't get something right, because this isn't easy music to play.
No.
I'm playing the least amount of anybody, and I got my hands full just trying to do what Ronnie did every night. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But over time, those relationships grew, and it's sad when those friendships and people pass away, and
Of course.
things happen. But we try to keep in touch with as many of them as we can. Family members of the Van Zants, and family members of Ed are still in touch with us and things of that nature. So we still have a few ties with people in the area and in Skynyrd.
The way back yonder, I can remember a lot of us when Skynyrd would tour, and especially in Florida, where we're all from.
Yeah.
And I would go and take a few second helping members with me, and I'd hang out with Ed. He was my friend, and I was there to visit my friend.
Yeah.
But what was kind of neat is the other guys were like, oh my goodness gracious, we're like hanging out with Skynyrd and all that, and they just flipped out. And so we'd go back to the hotel. There was one in particular in Tampa, and our piano player was sitting there just playing, and Billy walks up and said, no, it's like this. It's, I mean, who gets that opportunity? Leon Wilkinson, the bass player, our original bass player, and Leon, he just constantly just studied him, and Leon's just right there, just a conversation away. Ed King, Randall Hall, the two guitar players, Randall, to this day, if we got a question, we can just pick the phone up and say, hey man, I'm not sure how you do or this kind of stuff. Two of the band members in Second Helping was actually in the Randall Hall band after Randall left Skynyrd. But Ed in particular, and Randall, Ed really kind of, if you ever see our promo, in the promo, I say, thank you, Lynyrd Skynyrd, for kicking our butt and patting us on the back at the same time. Ed was tough. I mean, this is how you play the song. And, he had a sarcasm about him. It could be good or bad. I asked him, I said, doesn't it ever bother you that you got these tribute bands out there playing Sweet Home Alabama, and they don't play your leads right in Sweet Home Alabama? His answer was, well, maybe they think that theirs is a little bit better than mine. So, but they were very gracious, very gracious. Ed was patient, and in the beginning we would all huddle around the phone, have it on speakerphone, and we would play what we're playing, and he'd say, no, that's not right. I'm doing it right. I'm doing it this way or that way. That was kind of cool conversations. So from that point on, to piggyback on what John said, it's kind of personal with us. I mean, these guys, they've always been good to us, always.
One of my most cherished relationships from the original guys is not someone everybody automatically thinks of, but Gene Odom was Ronnie's personal bodyguard and best friend.
Okay.
And he traveled with the band. He was on the plane the night of the crash.
Okay.
He actually tried to save Ronnie's life, but was unsuccessful. But Gene, still to this day, up until recently, goes out on the road with us.
Okay.
He's got a book that he wrote about the plane crash and his stories of being around in the stories of Skynyrd. And he goes with us and sells his book and travels with us, and he still he's going to wear a white t-shirt no matter where we go. It's just plain white t-shirt.
Yeah, he does. And some of the other people, Craig Reed up in Ohio, this on YouTube. Hey, Craig. Paul Abraham, Skynyrd's road manager, just great guy. We're in touch with them pretty regularly.
Okay.
They're good. One of the things that I always enjoy when we do these interviews and stuff, and people find out, well, you guys actually knew them. Is there anything that you'd like to tell that a lot of fans don't know? And here we go. I could speak to the Van Zants, Ed King, Leon, Billy. Golly, I hope I'm not leaving somebody out. Those guys in particular had very, very, very deep Christian faith.
Okay.
And that's kind of how Ed and I met. They were very deep, especially those four. And you can still see Johnny on Facebook. If you go to Johnny Roy Van Zant, which is his first middle name, he does a thing every Sunday.
Okay.
So it's kind of neat. A lot of people don't know that about him, but they have a pretty deep faith. Good guys, man. They're just so good. They're so nice. They're, Lordy have mercy. The fact that they would hang out with us knuckleheads and work with us.
Yeah, they don't have to. They didn't have to, but they took the time to help us.
So in other words,
what the music is correctly,
In other words, also gave their blessing to you guys to do this project.
Yeah,
and you've been doing it since 1988, so it's like an eternity here. You've been playing,
right?
Not I don't want to make it sound old, but I've had my record store here in town since '85, so I know.
Okay,
we're veterans of the rock and roll world, right?
Well, there was one time Lacey Van Zant, Ronnie and Johnny and Donnie's daddy. He went out on a couple shows with us. Took Ronnie's truck. If you ever heard the song "Brickyard Road," where it talks about the gray '55 Chevy, he brought that out with us, and
wow.
We did that. What a hoot that was, man. Lacey knew him pretty well, and was around the other Van Zants, but just kind of around them. I knew their daddy. Lacey was.
Okay.
They broke the mold with that guy. What a storyteller. Looked like Robert E. Lee.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Great. What is the current full lineup? Oh, I got it backwards. I'm tongue twisted here. What's the full lineup in the current band right now? You want to go over your other members in the band and introduce them to the viewers? Right?
Well, I got to go in a row because there's so many of us. If I don't start at the same place, I'll forget somebody.
Do it.
From right to left, we'll go that way. On the far right, playing piano is Jackie Johnson. Fabulous piano player.
Yeah. Keyboards,
organ. He plays on a real string piano. He plays on a Hammond B3 with a Leslie cabinet. And that Leslie cabinet's been around longer than I've been alive. So, I mean, it's the real deal.
Moses brought it in.
Yeah. I can tell you something else. It's the heaviest piece of equipment I've ever moved in my life.
Oh, I bet.
Luckily, we have loaders and roadies now, but back in the day, that thing is heavy. My son actually helps us out on the road. He's one of my roadies.
Okay.
And he kind of tries to disappear every time the cabinet has to be moved. But
I bet. Time to go for a walk.
Yeah. And then next to Jackie, you'll see Chris McCallister, the guitar player and slide player. And then to Chris's left and my right, you'll see Rick King, our bass player, who also used to play with Randall Hall.
Okay.
Fabulous dude, fabulous gentleman. He looks real reserved on stage, but he is not missing. He is thumping that bass, man.
He's good.
He's a little stand backish. At the end of the night, I've got to push him forward to get him to the front of the stage to say, go up there and let your light shine, But
he kisses him on the cheek.
Yeah. That's the only way I can get him to smile. He won't crack a smile unless I give him a little peck on the cheek. And then behind me in the middle, you'll have Corey Avery, who is our drummer. Okay. He joined us about 3 years ago, 3 or 4 years ago. So he is the baby of the group at the moment. But he does a fantastic job and has studied Artemis and Bob,
Mhm.
you know, all of the original sounds. So he is on the money. In fact, he's keeping us on track, really.
Good.
Then I'm in the middle, John Riggs.
Mhm.
To my immediate left would be St. James Jones, who is they're all lead guitar players. So when I say lead guitar player, I mean everybody. But he plays lead guitar. And to his left is Tom Spellman, lead guitar player,
Okay.
who actually plays that I Know a Little Lick fabulously. I started out in this band as a guitar player, and I never played it as well as Tommy. I'm very jealous of that fact. So that's it for the front line. But to Tommy's left, you'll have the girls, which
Right.
are Fleeta Griffin, Laura McCallister, and Tracy Brenneman. And then there's a whole bunch of crew members in the background.
Mhm.
Billy Davis, Alyssa Avery, my son Brock, my
Okay.
wife Gina, who does merchandise. Ian Kimball's our guitar tech. Vinny Flash, that's his real name. Vinny Flash is our sound engineer.
Mhm.
And then, from time to time, we'll take a little extra people around, but that's
Sure.
about all of us. There's 14 of us. That's enough.
Yeah, it sounds like quite the crew, and quite, and I'm glad we did this interview because people, the fairgrounds been doing a bunch of acts, and to know that you put this much love and effort into it does make it special, I would
Yeah.
say. And you having this full band, coming in and the full experience of having the backup vocals. I can't wait to check it out. I've been trying to rope all my friends in. We have our big anniversary of the store the night before, but with Iron Maiden show and another original band, Last Pharaoh, which is on Friday night. We have Chris Caffery, who we talked about that you guys actually know from the Trans-Siberian Orchestra and Sabotage.
Yeah.
I guess you guys shared the same manager,
Road
at one
manager.
time, road manager.
Yeah.
And I did talk to Chris the other day and I mentioned the name and he's like, oh yeah, for sure. And unfortunately, Chris can't be there that night. He would have come up and hung out, but he's gigging with one of his side projects that night. So
Yeah.
he's not going to be in Middletown that night, but that's an interesting, it's a small world, isn't it?
Oh, yeah.
It is. Yeah. Sabotage and Second Helping shared the same road manager.
Mhm.
And it was kind of cool. We got to know them, and I'm fortunate, got to know John and Chris Oliva,
Yeah.
who's no longer with us, and it was because of Sabotage that we're the only tribute band to have ever been on MTV when MTV was MTV.
When it was music.
They actually had rock concerts.
Yeah,
and
they did.
we did. They had us up there. We were such a novelty act that because of Gary, who managed the two bands, he was able to get us on there. He pulled strings.
And that was what was that concert that you were on for? Let's fill our viewers in why you were on MTV that day.
The one that we did for the MTV.
Yes.
That was a concert we did at Boatyard Village in Tampa. MTV came in and filmed it. And spring break. No, this is back in '89, or maybe in the early '90s. I can't remember. It wasn't long after Chris died.
Okay.
And that's why they did it.
I see.
So that would be the year. I'm only 40, so my memory's strong.
Yeah. And you also mentioned something about you have a Derek truck story. And you also, I don't know if this runs in together, many of the Allman Brothers lived in the same area of Florida that Second Helping originated from. I guess this could be a 2-question, maybe 2 answers. Of course, did the Allman Brothers and Second Helping have any connection? And is back in the day?
Well, it's weird. We'll get into the Derek Trucks thing next, but our lead singer at the time, Chris Tomei,
and
our drummer JR, knew the Allman Brother guys, because the
Okay.
Allman Brother, we were right in the Tampa Bay area, and Allman Brothers, Blackfoot, they were all down in Sarasota, Fort Myers area. That's just
Okay.
yeah, that's just hop, skip, and jump. And then up you had Skynyrd and Molly Hatchet. All those the Outlaws were right there in Tampa, and all them bands. We just ran into each other all the time, and you know it is what it is. John and I were talking about that the other day. Around here in Eastern North Carolina, there's a lot of really famous bands for North Carolina, and we run into them all the time, and we don't think anything of it. We like each other. We respect each other's music and all that. So anyway, but Greg Allman used to use when he was out of the Allman Brothers in between tours and stuff, and when he did his solo stuff. And these guys constantly played around Florida just to kind of get their feet wet, try out songs in front of people. We do the same thing. And so Greg would use Chris's PA system. And so did Danny Toller. And Greg and Danny, if you ever heard the song "I'm No Angel," that guitar,
Of course, I love that song.
yeah, that's isn't that a great song? That's Danny Toller on the guitar. And so Danny was a good friend of Chris and JR, and became a friend of the band. But those guys, with the Greg Allman band, they hung out with him. I didn't, but Greg and JR did. I'm leaving one of those other. Warren Haynes. Mark was friends with Warren Haynes while he was in the Allman Brothers. So there is that connection. We got to do it, and that Mark's connection with Eiskhoff. I can't remember his name. Irvin Eiskhoff at MCA Records or something. That helped us in the future. But the Derek Truck story. We had played a couple of shows. We played all over Florida, and I remember one day backstage, I'm sitting there and I said to Brian and I both played slide at that time, and I said, "Who's the kid?" It looked like a 13-year-old kid. His hair was the color of mine. It's like, who's this kid? All right. And we don't know. Yeah. And, he would, I remember we played in Clearwater one, and he came there, and it was played Gasoline Alley. It was a place called Gasoline. It was a concert club. Yeah. And so we're standing there playing. Here's this kid. And he would go, if Brian would play a song on slide, phenomenal slide player, Brian Jeffries, he's still down in Tampa. And he'd just walk over there and just stare at him. Just literally like that. And then if I played, he'd come over and do that. And so we're, well, who's this kid? And they said, well, he's kin to one of the Allman Brothers guys. Well, his dad would bring him, Chris Trucks. And we found out later it's Derek. Well, he didn't know anything about Derek, but apparently up in Jacksonville, he'd sat in with Randall Hall and Ace Moreland and all these great, and it was kind of weird. This kid came right out a couple times, and now look at him. It's just it was weird. Yeah. He just stand and just stare, but he's something else.
You were talking about Blackfoot. They're I loved Blackfoot. I got to see them back in the day a lot. And actually a couple of years ago, there's a place up here, Brian's Backyard Barbecue. The restaurant closed up, but every year he'd have a Southern rock blues thing at his house. And I actually sold merch for Greg T. Walker. And he had the Two Wolf band, and he was there that day. And I remember back in the day seeing Blackfoot with on the Ciago tour, and meeting Ricky and all those guys back in those days. Of course now Ricky, regular member in Skynyrd, and I got to hang out with them a little bit. He's
a very nice person, Ricky Medlow.
Yeah, Ricky and Greg T. I guess Greg T. was actually in Skynyrd at one time too. He was on the very early stuff, I guess. Yeah, and Now, Chris tells me to tell John that you play lead guitar, but you're a good slide player. That's what he
Oh
said.
my God, yeah. Yeah. I'll let him get into this, but
What are you talking about?
we were in rehearsal.
He
We were
set
in
you up on
rehearsal
this
playing
one.
Keeper, Texas. And so we went through it. I don't know how it happened, but John picks up the guitar and starts playing the slide to T for Texas. And I went, ain't no way I'm doing that. Not with this guy standing there. I mean, oh yeah, he's good. He's a really good slide player.
Cool. Yeah, Chris told me to talk about that, John. So he set me up for you.
No, he didn't. He didn't mention that to me about that.
He said, he goes, oh, by the way, I said, you got any more
Yeah.
questions? You want me to run by tonight? And he goes, ask him that one. I was okay.
Yeah.
So it's not everybody's going to be watching this can come to the gig here in Middletown, because people watch this channel all around the world and all through the States. You have any more gigs planned up in 2022 that maybe people can make plans to come out and see you?
Nothing else in New York, unfortunately.
No, but people watch this all around. I got viewers in North Carolina. I got viewers in Europe and Norway. I got them all over the place. So yeah, if you got some other dates coming up, I guess you got a website that folks can go check out to check all that out. And if you got some merchandise or anything else, what is the website that they can find you at, guys?
Second-helping.com.
Oh,
we got shows in North Carolina. We got some shows in Myrtle Beach coming up. I don't have the dates imprinted on my brain at the moment. I think we're negotiating a date in Myrtle Beach at the moment. But Savannah, Charleston.
Nice.
We keep trying to go to Europe. We really do.
Okay.
Honestly, guys over there, we're trying, but it's just, 14 people. It's quite a bit.
We almost got it done, and then the pandemic hit and it ruined everything.
Of course.
But we almost got it done, and we almost got Canada, but then the pandemic ruined everything.
So primarily, you played mostly in the United States in your career. Have you played in South America, Mexico, anything out of the borders? Okay.
Yeah, we played in Merida at a soccer stadium down in Merida, Mexico. We've toured Canada before.
Okay.
Yeah.
And
so
what are some
back in Canada?
what are some bands that you have shared the stage with, maybe opened up for or been in festivals with, some memorable ones maybe?
Guess Who?
Guess Who? Okay.
Ted Nugent,
Lee Greenwood.
Okay.
Toto.
Okay.
We've had a lot of people set in. Allman Brothers. We've played several times with the Kentucky Headhunters. They're our brothers, man.
Nice.
We almost opened up for Kid Rock, but the pandemic messed that up too. So.
Let's hope the pandemic's going somewhere else right now. Hopefully it is.
Yeah.
It's one thing, it's another anymore. But anything else you guys would like to add tonight? I guess. What kind of a set list do we get on a gig? Maybe this Saturday
hold on
night?
a second. I might be able to help you out with that.
You're gonna give away all the secrets?
I'm gonna find out myself.
How long is this show? Is it 2 hour or 2.5 hours?
That's up to you.
I hope it's long. I hope it's a couple hours.
Well, depending on how much time they allow us to play.
Yeah. I know you were the only band playing on that stage that night, and I believe you kick off at 8 o'clock, and the fair is usually shut down about 11.
Yeah.
Yeah.
MCA. I Ain't the One. Searching. Saturday Night Special. Simple Man. That Smell. Curtis Lowe. Swamp Music. Cry for the Bad Man. Needle in a Spoon. Tuesday's Gone. Down South Jukin'. Whiskey Rock and Roller, Coming Home, On the Hunt, Traveling Man, Bullets. Give me back my bullets. What's Your Name? I Know a Little. Give Me 3 Steps. Call Me the Breeze. Sweet Home, and whatever everybody asks for.
All right. I was going to ask you for Traveling Man and Give Me Back My Bullets. You already got that covered for me, so.
Yeah, they're up there, brother.
I tell you what, seeing Skynyrd a few years ago, I went to the farewell tour. Of course, they're still around. I saw them last year up here. They played in Bethel Woods up here last year, and I went to see them. And when they took Traveling Man off the set, that was one of my things that was, I don't know, just one of the highlights of the show, especially how they presented it and having the screen with Ronnie singing up in the back. I just thought that was just so cool. I know they've cut their set list a little bit and they've got some changes in the actual band. They were supposed to play in Middletown on June 3rd. They even had the stage set up and everything, and they had the COVID thing come around, and then the concert was rescheduled for October up here, and now it's been completely canceled for some reason. I'm not sure why, but they were playing in the fairgrounds. So you are our Lynyrd Skynyrd act for the summer here at the fair. So,
well, we love to do it. We love to be there.
Yeah. It's going to be, as we said earlier, it's a big show, man. It's big. What we hear a lot of people, say, it's, oh my God, you guys replicate how the Skynyrd stuff. It's big. It's a big show. Those girls are cranking. John is like, oh my God, Dead nails it.
Can't wait.
It's a tight show. Folks say that, it looks like we're having fun. We are, we call ourselves a family. We're really close friends in real life. We're all very, very, very close and all that. Some of the names that just popped up that's also set in with a band, the guys from the Hamhunters, Johnny Van Zant band, Eric. He's a buddy of ours. Some of the Skynyrd members have set in with us, Randall, Hardy, Ed. It's Marshall Tucker band. We've played with them before. It's just so many of them out there that it's weird.
And I think one of the things I mentioned, I don't mean to interrupt you, but this concert, if you guys are watching in the area, in Middletown and New York metro area, Pensy, Jersey, whatever, this concert is free. No one's talked about, hey, is this $50 to get in or something? No, it's free. All you gotta do is pay $10 to go to the fair, and you're gonna see this show for nothing. What can you get for $10 in 2022? You can't even get 2 gallons of gas. But you can see a full Lynyrd Skynyrd show, and of course, it's going to be a good time. And I mean, there is a VIP area. If you want to pay $20, there is an upfront area where you can get right up in front with the band. They got some tables and chairs up in the front. And then
come on up, man.
So yeah, $20 you get down there, and I know you can buy those right at the fair that night if you want to move up, or you can hang out on the lawn. Of course, the Orange County Fair is in full swing, so you can bring the kids, go on the rides. There's a full service bar on the grounds, and there's actually, the night you guys are playing, the stock car races are going on in the speedway as you guys play kind of up the hill. We didn't know how it was going to work last week because we had the Guns N' Roses show in there, but they drowned out the races, and the races are loud. But it worked out well, and everybody had a great time. So it's going to be another epic night at the fairgrounds, the Americana for sure, with the fair and the stock car races and good Lynyrd Skynyrd music. I can't wait. And anything you guys would like to add before we wrap this up and tonight?
I wanted to touch on something I was going to say earlier.
Okay.
The biggest compliment that I ever hear is people will come up to me after the show, and I always try to go out and meet, shake hands and meet people. Say, man, I saw Skynyrd back in the 70s.
Yeah.
And I closed my eyes and it was like I was there again. And I'm not saying that to say that, hey, we sound that good. I'm saying that it's awesome to be able to take somebody back to a memory that was cherished by them, to bring a cherished memory back to them. And that's one of my favorite things about the whole experience.
And one of the things, that's really kind of neat, especially for those Lynyrd Skynyrd files that are out there. John does an excellent job of, in between songs, telling the stories about those songs.
That's great.
And a lot of those, how they were written and who wrote, what's the story behind them. And he's done his research. Of course, he's talked to a lot of the people that were there and said, this is how it was written. And some of those stories are really good. And it has a tendency to it can get emotional because, like I said, some of these guys, they're not here anymore. They're in heaven. And Curtis Lowe is probably the most emotional thing for me to play because Ed really was patient with me while I was learning to slide to that. And I pretty much dial him in. What a lot of people, he doesn't even know this, what a lot of times before I play it, under my breath, I'll say, all right now, Ed, and I'll start playing the song. It's, he was a good friend.
I think it's emotional just every time I go to see Lynyrd Skynyrd, whether it's seeing you guys perform or, actual Skynyrd or listen to him, just because of all the history and what went on with the crash. And I was never lucky enough to see the original band, but I've caught Skynyrd for years now. Tell you a little quick story about me. Not that we're supposed to be talking about me tonight, but I remember years ago, but I run a heavy metal store. I mean, it's a record store, it carries everything, but we're mainly based. So we were all excited. We were going to go see a tour. I don't know how many years ago. It's probably 20 years ago now. It was Deep Purple.
Oh, God. Lynyrd
Skynyrd and Ted Nugent. I think Lynyrd Skynyrd was the headliner, actually. Deep Purple's in the center.
Wow.
So we drove up to Wilkes-Barre, PA, which is about an hour from here. And we were pretty much going for Deep Purple. And man, I fell in love back with Skynyrd again after seeing that show. And I was like, man, then listen, sometimes you put stuff down for a while, you're into something else. And I mean, the whole crowd was into it. And man, they were, no offense to Deep Purple at the time, but they were so great. Then I got to see Skynyrd with Zakk Wylde, Pride and Glory, opening up for him once. And I thought that was great. That is all, it was Zakk Wylde's been out of Pride and Glory for years, but that was a good experience also. So,
amazing guitar player.
Yeah. And so I look really forward to seeing you, and I hope everyone that's viewing this, come to Middletown for the whole weekend. Come to my party on Friday night. We're extending my party for Rock Fantasy. I don't care what they say. We're going to extend the Rock Fantasy anniversary into Saturday with you guys.
There you go.
Sleep in a get a motel around the corner and hang out with us all weekend. That's what I'm suggesting, because you get the best of metal and the best of some great Southern rock and roll, man.
Well, they can expect a big show. If you really like to hear Lynyrd Skynyrd done right, you're going to hear those very little small pieces.
Yeah.
I want those Skynyrd fans coming, and you listen for those little tiny pieces that are
nuances.
They're there. Those nuances. Yeah. They're there. And, we would be remiss to if we didn't say again, we really appreciate everything the Skynyrd folks have done, from their crew to their road managers, the members. They've been extremely kind to us, and they're kind to other Skynyrd tribute bands, especially Barefoot Rebel up there in Rhode Island, buddies of ours, good band. Skynyrd is just like, they're like apple pie, baseball, and Chevrolet.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And they're
for sure
super nice guy. We're quite fortunate. They wrote awesome songs, and we get the privilege of playing it for the last 34 years.
And that set list you got set up there is pretty killer, so I can't wait. Well, anyhow, we're gonna have to wrap this up tonight. I hope our viewers enjoyed this episode, and take a moment to go to their website. And of course, if you're in the area, please come out to the show or catch them down south. If you guys are down, we got a lot of people on the channel from North Carolina, so you're going to be able to go see them down there. I know Tony Dio, one of my good friends, that's always on the channel. I think I've seen you guys and knows one of you down there. So works at a record shop around Raleigh. So anyhow, we'll see you guys again soon. Take a moment and hit subscribe and all that shit, so we'll support the channel. We thank you so much for your time tonight. Second helping. We can't wait to see you this Saturday night as we film this on Monday, and we're going to have this episode up tonight so we can get this thing spread around a little bit. All right, guys. I look forward to hanging out with you on Saturday.
Okay, Steve.
All right.
Stay heavy.